Maybe can you just slide that out there? I don't look good with one of those in my nose. Last Tuesday, we went to the Titans of CNC in Red Bluff, and there were, I think, 35 to 40 people in the audience. We saw Titan Gilroy talk about his experience in his shop. We went through his learning program where he is basically he's moving from a facility that's creating things for SpaceX into a teaching academy, and he's got 10 lessons for CNC milling where the students do a project and then they build upon their skills. So by the time they get to the 10th project, they've really gone through the whole process of making parts on the CNC mill. They have a auto lathe program where they go through and they build, again, another, I believe, 10 pieces. In this case, they all interlock to form an actual rocket ship. So they go through the threading, the tapping, they hollow out pieces for decorative equipment, and then they had a couple of other pieces, but it's all through videos that they've put together, and you literally follow the step-by-steps with the program that they're using. The program's free. I think it's Fusion is what it was called.
Fusion is the software.
Yeah, Fusion. Yeah, and so, yeah, an Autodesk, and he's really set it up so that schools can have a training facility for using the CNC mill. He's also done the aluminum stock, so it's a standard stock, so that the kids can do all 10 pieces with standard square stock. I don't know the exact size. It was really pretty cool. He shared, his story and how he came up and got his business. They've had a little bit of focus on autism and how autistic students really kind of shine in a CNC environment because it's so meticulous and so detail oriented. His son suffers from Asperger's, and once he got him in working, and he said he's one of the best operators he's got. So there was a question and answer period. Yeah, it was good. It's all posted on our website. So if you go to SVHS photo, there's a piece that says mini grant, and you'll see all the videos of the Titan CNC. So you'll actually can see the whole presentation, and there's still a few things that need to be added.
Okay.
But it was really pretty good. I had one kid that was with me that's in the engineering program, and he was like, this was super cool. It was something that he hadn't really experienced, and he really the program looks pretty solid, and it's free. You just have to sign up. They said the majority of people they have, students runs, I think, second. The first one is people in the industry just trying to get better at their job, and then it goes into students and just anybody. He set it up where if you wanted to learn CNC milling, you could go through the process and make the parts. And he's got CNC operators throughout the country that you can go to on the weekends when their shop's running low or they're not working, and you can come in and actually mill on their machines and try it out. So it was pretty good, really good.
Is that is that the same kind of CNC machine as ours?
Yeah. And Mark has a Fusion 360 account. So he was Mark Lee, that was our representative at the last meeting that went in place with me. He was really impressed by it, the presentation, and he's actually had a couple of his higher end students on the Chromebooks. So they're watching the tutorial on their phone, and as he's going through on the tutorial, they're working through the project on their Chromebook through the Fusion 360 link. And he said a lot of it's nice because it's pretty much like cloud-based, so there's not a lot of heavy software or anything like that to download to your account. So he has students that are working through that.
A lot of the engineering kids too all use Fusion 360.
What he was really strong, he reiterated a lot that they just need to follow along, and as they do it multiple times, they will start to figure it out, you know. And he was saying that that's the biggest hurdle, is a lot of teachers that have been doing this for a long time are the ones that are struggling the most. And he said that just give them the videos and they will go along, and it was really pretty cool. Yeah, he actually set up the shop. One of his big achievements is he went into San Quentin and redid the entire shop, and they put in CNC mills, and you know, a lot of these guys that are, you know, available to get out have no skills.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, in this case, all I want to see is what you can make.
Because he was in San Quentin for
Yeah.
a number of years, wasn't he?
Yeah.
This is the guy from Gilroy?
Yeah, no, his name's Gilroy.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
confusion on
It's not-
that. I thought the
I
same thing too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a boxer,
Yeah.
and got into a few too many fights.
Huh.
But you know, when he got out, he picked this up, and he just took to it.
I've seen episodes of his TV show, and I'm not sure how much of it was for the camera, but really what's interesting with his like business model of how he runs his own company is that he almost sees the piece of equipment as a consumable as well.
Yeah.
So the limits that he's pushing his machines to is like, you know, traditional machinists are like, oh my gosh, I would never do that because the tolerances in the machine, that's just not what they're used to, or
Yeah.
they have no idea that they're
Well-
capable of that. So if he can increase production by X amount, then it's worth him to run those machines just
Yeah.
wide open. Full
Well,
throttle.
one of the things he said when he first started, and why people were kind of giving him the cold shoulder, is when he first started, he was trying to figure out ways to make things faster. And he said, I was up and coming, I'd tell the boss every day, hey, I was able to make 2 extra pieces, or I was able to save time on this, or materials. And his theory is, if your machine's not running, you're losing money. So yeah, I could see where he would you know, push it, but he knew what, you know, you could tell it was almost like he was a little savant-like with it. He could really run those machines. And his son spoke. There was also a 19-year-old kid from Rockland who they hired a year right out of high school, and he was talking about going through the Rockland program, and you know, he knew this was what he wanted to do, and you know, just how he was getting pushed by counselors. You got to go to college. He's like, no, this is what I'm going to do. That kid was articulate. He was, you know, well, he knew what he was doing. He'll own his own shop one day, without a doubt. And he was 19 years old.
And he teaches at Sierra College.
Sierra College, he's you know,
an
doing
assistant,
classes at.
Yeah, in the lab already at 19 years
Yeah, at
old.
19 years old. He was, like I said, I mean, he had the perfect storm going. He was super articulate. He, you know, he knew what he wanted to do, and you know, I'm sure they don't cut him any slack.
Yeah.
Where's he based at, this guy?
Rockland.
No, Rockland was the school that the kid went
Right,
to.
but then, yeah,
The Titans of CNC is right up there above Red Bluff, I think.
No, it's in Rockland. I just visited.
Is it?
Last week.
Okay, I was confused. I think having a last name of Gilroy.
It's making everyone think.
Yeah,
oh,
okay, so it is
It is
in Rockland. In Rockland High School, I have people that, you know, I know work at that. That is a pretty cutting edge school in a lot of
Oh,
ways.
yeah,
A lot of
it
ways.
is, it is.
Yeah, that Rockland Granite Bay area is really
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell
they
her.
have some pretty amazing programs all around. But it was good.
Nice.
We
Great.
had 5 students that we took. We got more video than Peter Hansen has ever worked with in his life. He goes, I've never worked with 5-hour segments.
Oh, wow.
He goes, it's just not done. So we had a lot of video.
Okay.
And you have it already up on your website?
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Okay,
Just a
that's
minute.
great.
Okay, so then we're on track for the 3rd workshop tomorrow at the Yolo County Office of Ed. So I'll be attending that, and then also have clearance or verification of the go-ahead to attend the May meeting as well. So I'll be at both of those.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, so one of the big items is I have a price quote or order confirmation from Complete Welder Supply. And so I guess we can go through kind of both of these items at the same time. So this price quote will be something that we'll share with our advisory group before it's finalized and before the order actually takes place, to see if they have any questions or verification and to approve it. So I worked with Frank at Complete Welder Supply as well as Silvio Modena, who's the local sales representative for Miller Electric for the welding equipment through their educational discount program. So we were actually able to save a lot of money on the equipment. And a lot of this, many of these items are like personal protective equipment, welding helmets, jackets, gloves, safety glasses, etc. And then the other large portion of the chunk is equipment. And the equipment purchases were dictated off of this copy that I gave you already from Napa Valley College. So I was able to speak with Carrie, and we talked quite a bit about the articulation process and what would be required to get that going at Napa Valley College. And she had already actually spoken with the head welding instructor there. His name's Eric Wade. And I had stopped by and talked to him on other occasions about different issues or topics. And he had actually already shared my name and our school information with Carrie. So she was, we were already on her radar. And so we talked about what the process includes. So she sent me the Weld 100 course outline. And so we'll use this course outline to help us finalize and write the course outlines for next year for the beginning welding and advanced welding and metal fabrication course. And there will be some additional items that get added that we'll be doing that aren't in Eric's beginning course outline. But we'll use this to finalize that. So when we decided, a little bit of the background or history on that is when I approached Kathleen and administration about going from the agriculture mechanics to welding technology, we were a little bit behind scheduling as far as taking this to the school board and getting the course approved. So it's offered for next year as like a trial or a pilot course. And so we'll have to go through this our CAC process and to the school board early next year to get these courses officially approved and on the books. So we'll be using the Weld 100 to develop that before I submit our course to the school board. I'll send it to Carrie as well as to Eric, and they'll review the course and make any suggestions or edits to make sure that it aligns with the Weld 100 course. And after looking at it and speaking with Carrie, I look as if it'll fit good within what we're trying to do here. For the students that are in the beginning welding course, we'll get through maybe 3/4 of the curriculum that's in Napa Valley College's Weld 100. And then for the second year, the advanced welding in fabrication, that's when the students will finalize the last, third to 25% of the curriculum that we probably won't get to in the beginning class. So what we'll be offering is a 2-year course sequence in the welding that will fit or articulate with what Napa Valley College is operating in the Weld 100.
Okay, so it's kind of broken. Yeah, that's pretty much how it works out.
Yeah.
It's a 2-year.
And when I
course
first-
sequence in high school, but it's only one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I foresee the courses that we're offering as kind of the students for the first year are pretty much all being on the same track, and then the second year is when those students, they'll need to probably make a decision to, do they want to articulate with the Napa Valley College and stay more on developing their welding skills, or if they're students and they're satisfied or they feel like their welding skills are worth enough for them to start building projects and doing some of the fabrication component, then they would kind of go into a separate track if they're not necessarily interested in the articulation, so that they're actually building and working on their projects. So I don't, and again, the advisory group, our advisory group can advise us on whether or not that they, support that idea or not, but just from the viewpoint of the practicality of all students going and articulating with Napa Valley College may not serve 100% of the population, as well as allowing them on that second level to kind of make their own decision as to what avenue that they're deciding to pursue.
Danny, is there like some kind of a, like an end of course assessment or something they would have to do if they're articulating?
Yeah, and Eric and I will set that up. It'll most likely be a written knowledge test, as well as a hands-on, like a welding coupon / kind of like a project assessment that they'll have to take
So just
to demonstrate their ability.
So I understand, and what Veronica said made me wonder. So our course is a 1-year course, full year course, right? And then so they'll get 3 quarters of the way through the Napa Valley semester-long course, right? And then it'll take part of the next year to finish.
Yeah, as far as
semester
getting
course?
through the curriculum that's required from Napa, I see them getting, about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way, being able to, fulfill all of those requirements in that beginning welding course. But there are some outcomes in here specifically for the gas tungsten arc welding, like the TIG welding and carbon arc cutting, that are really more of like intermediate to advanced level that we won't touch on or get to in the first year, and then they'll be able to.
So they can't
Give
just
those
take 1 year and articulate, they have to take the full 2
I
years.
don't think that I don't think it would serve the students well to try and cover all of those topics within that first year. It would be so fast that I think they wouldn't have a real understanding of what they're actually doing. It would almost have to be more like I set everything up for them and then they perform the skill, but that's not, they need to know the background behind the information, the equipment, and how to set it up and use it on their own.
Is it because the articulation is usually you get the information from the JC? Would it be possible that if a kid were doing their senior project or something, that maybe you could move them along a little further to finish that up? Is that a possibility, or?
Like if the student
If you had an
able to enroll into
if you had an advanced student and, they first year and then they did their senior project perhaps, and maybe you said, maybe we can get you a little farther to test out, or I don't know if that's possible.
I think on an
Sometimes that's-
individual basis, or
sometimes
something
that's
on-
not, that you push them too fast, but that might be a possibility
So they
too
could test
sometimes.
out and maybe not take that second year if they had some.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think that, that Napa Valley College they were open to, it doesn't matter how long the kids need to take the courses at the high school level, as long as they get to this point of skill and knowledge, it doesn't matter to us. And so, you brought that up, Andy. I also foresee like the FFA students that are participating in the welding career development events, that those students would be able to complete these tasks because they'll be working after school and putting in additional time to develop those skills. And all of these skills listed are ones that they would need to be aware of and be able to demonstrate for the contest, so that they would also articulate faster.
Is there any
For the
kind of
most
like reverse articulation, like if a student wanted to take the actual class at Napa Valley College? Like what if they took like a beginning class here and then just wanted to take an advanced class at Napa Valley College in the evenings or something? I guess they could do that, right? There's no reason why they couldn't.
No, because they have to, usually if they're taking an advanced level course, it's because they've completed the other one. It's not concurrent. I can't take X before I take
Yeah.
Y. Completed
So they'd
Y.
have to take the full or a test out of the full one here before they could
Yeah, I don't.
take the advanced course there.
Yeah, I don't think that there would be any benefit to them to being enrolled concurrently because they would, pretty much be taking the same course twice at that same time. And then you get into weird rules with the community colleges as far as being able to repeat courses.
Yeah.
So,
Schedule-wise, do you guys see it, schedule-wise with the students and all the other courses they have to take? Do you see that there be a problem with it being a 3-course sequence for electives and all, you know what I mean?
3-course sequence.
it'll be a 2-course
It's a
sequence.
two-course, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said it would have to be 3 courses in this.
No, just 2.
Oh,
A
just-
beginning and advanced.
Okay, so this one's gonna be just a 2-course sequence, or fall and spring semester,
No,
no?
sophomore year and junior year and senior year. It's not a semester course, it's a year long.
It's
Right,
a
that's what I
year
was
long,
just asking.
right? So it's gonna be a year long to meet the articulation of this,
Yeah,
Is that
or
what-
possibly 2.
possibly. Okay. So basically, they're taking the first section of the course in the fall semester, and then the second semester of the course,
No, the high school classes are year-long courses.
no, okay.
There are
Okay.
no semester courses.
Oh,
at the high
okay.
school.
Okay, so they're all.
So that was my question that I just asked Danny. So he said the first course would be get them through 3/4 of the curriculum of the beginning welding course. So that's the whole first year of the beginning welding course.
Oh,
And then
I
in
get
that
second.
advanced welding course, they pick up that last quarter-ish for the full articulation, right? Am I saying that
For
right?
the full articulation of this one.
So it would
course,
take them
yeah. Mhm.
2 years,
Mhm.
not 2 semesters, but 2 years, right?
Okay.
Danny, where are most of the kids or most of the students that are at Napa, the JC, that are going through the welding program? What feeder high schools are they coming from? Do you know? I think more of like American Canyon.
Yeah, American Canyon,
Fairfield.
like St. Helena, Napa.
Do you know if they offer any welding programs at those schools or?
Yeah, St. Helena does, and St. Helena actually offers a course for concurrent enrollment with Napa College. So they have an instructor, an adjunct instructor that teaches at St. Helena High School. Napa College, I'm not aware that they have, their ag program doesn't have any like shop-related classes. They're strictly the agriculture science, and I don't think that American Canyon does either.
No, I don't think American Canyon does. I've seen the St. Helena shop, just peered through the window. Nice.
Yeah, that's what it is. And there may become a time when, after a year or 2 of this course operating, and then we would get the shop dialed in with the equipment and get a feel for the pace of the course, that may be something we look at as condensing that.
Right.
We're getting more students in the first year to be able to articulate. And again, Napa Valley College was more than willing to be flexible on how long those students were enrolled. Yeah, again, as long as they can meet with whatever the arrangement will be, they'll take the hands-on portion here, and I'll take all their weld test coupons and meet with Eric, and he'll inspect them. Or if they'll be traveling to his facility to take those classes. So as long as they have the skill and the knowledge, they'll be able to articulate with that. So the next step for us will be, for me, will be to go ahead and write those course outlines for the beginning and advanced welding class. Share them with Carrie and Eric at Napa Valley College. Also review those with our Agriculture Advisory Committee. Finalize that, get it submitted to the school board for approval, and then we'll be all set with that. And during that time, Eric and I will be communicating with how those students will actually be testing, and we're going to be doing it in our facility. And so if you go through like the student learning outcomes and identify some of the different welding processes, as far as the content goes, with oxygen, fuel, gas cutting, and the different electrical arc welding, the safety component of that. many of the tools and equipment that are necessary in order to teach those subjects is equipment that would be included in this price quote. So that's where that comes from, that's where that was dictated. So with the help of Frank and Silvio from Miller and taking a look at this course, so we came up with that list to submit for approval. And I think it totals at somewhere like 17,000. Yeah, 17,600. Which gives us a little bit of room for any sort of unexpected supplies or equipment or consumables that purchase as the end of the year gets closer.
Just because of other discussions I had, are you thinking, do you know which account you would be pulling this out of within the Alvin Reneg?
Well, the check had, I
Oh, it's
believe
from
the
this
district
one,
office
right, the 25,000?
received the check,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
from
good.
this account.
That's right.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we had to do was just be a little bit flexible on that piece of equipment that we had talked about, the hydraulic pipe and tubing bender for the fabrication component to the course. We actually used Perkins and CTEIG in combination to purchase that piece of equipment because those were able to use for capital outlay. And then we basically just flip-flopped items from this grant to Perkins and CTEIG. So there's no capital outlay items in this price quote of equipment. And then part of the other component or question is, I know in the initial budget, I had included and showed an interest in attending and participating in the American Welding Society, the AWS training seminar. However, through their website and representatives, I can't get any information from them as to when the seminars and the dates and locations will occur for next school year, or to like pre-approved to get that money basically like encumbered or spent before the deadline of this grant is required. And so I'm just thinking that the professional development component may just have to be covered by Perkins or another account rather than this grant, if that's okay.
Is it possible to get a commitment on the registration price and do like an open PO type thing?
I might be able to do that.
An open PO right now for the business office.
Well, yeah, if you knew how much it was roughly going to cost, maybe you could do an open PO and then the date becomes flexible.
Yeah, the costs are pretty much
The same.
the same. Yeah, they've been fairly consistent. It's just the location wise, usually they come to San Francisco. They'll come to San Francisco and Sacramento. That's at one point in the spring and the fall.
Mhm.
They haven't established those dates and locations yet for that. So registration is not typically even technically open for those events. But yeah, I can talk with
I would
Adita
try the
again
open
to see if.
PO.
Maybe if you could do that.
Only-
And then what I've found with conferences is often, they're usually like within 2 weeks of what they used to be. If you can see when they were in the spring,
Okay.
like 3 years behind, you could generally get like kind of a 2-week window almost of when they're gonna be, because they usually have to book that. A lot of those places will book places, 6 months in advance.
Right, right.
So that might be an avenue to go on, and then just make an open PO.
I would try the open PO before you start moving from the budget narrative.
Okay.
Because that's already was the plan. It's
Yeah.
such a short window. But we've been very flexible with the grant, but I would try that route first
Okay.
before we change it, yeah.
Okay.
And then we were able to, you are allowed to use the funding into the fall, so that was okay.
Okay.
So, but see, you still have to check with your business office, how they want it to be, what's their protocol,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Right, so we're okay with you making arrangements for that purchase, but
Okay.
it does have to be stated on your budget narrative that, you know, you're fine, this is what we're gonna end up doing, you know?
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, so is there an official then, like, fall cutoff date as far as the money being
I
spent?
would say December.
Okay.
Usually it would be the whole semester, right?
Yeah.
We don't have an official date of that.
Okay,
If I need to get that, I will, but I don't think we do.
yeah, December, that would be, I think, more than adequate
Mm-hmm.
to be able to get the times and locations for that
Okay.
development. Okay, so yeah, that's helpful.
Is the professional development in the fall?
So there's one fall, one spring.
Yeah, that
Oh.
would be like fall and spring.
Okay.
So I'm, in the past, the San Francisco location has been around the middle of November,
Okay,
so
okay,
that should be more than doable.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did get an email from your business office that you got did you guys get your first check already? Okay. Came in, okay.
Yeah, the checks had arrived.
Purchase order's gone out.
It's already being spent. Okay.
All right, and so, yeah, the work plan activities, I felt like we developed that pretty well, and we're clear on the happenings of that and the objectives and the outcomes. As far as the student opportunities, the CTE activities, I think we had talked about, now that we're offering the welding course, we'll have many more students that are able to and capable of participating in the welding contest career development events. And so just off the top of my head, I know the ones, the traditional ones that we've participated in the past have been Butte College with the Chico State Field Day, Merced College offers a contest through that. Clovis / Fresno State University offers a contest. Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and Cuesta College. That's the culminating, like, the state finals contest in May. And then every now and then there are, like, more localized contests that people send out, like, just a personal invitation to, like, invite only. So sometimes, like, Paso Robles High School will have one. Madera High School sometimes has one.
Mm-hmm.
Galt High School, Liberty Ranch in the Sacramento area sometimes has one. So depending on how the school year's going and what the teachers' loads are, sometimes they'll have their own personal contests, or other high schools will come in. So students will be able to go to those colleges and universities, see their facilities, their labs, their equipment, meet their instructors, and then participate in the welding contest that they host. So looking forward to having that and students being more active in that.
Are you using did you have to use any of the budget? Because you have a little bit left over.
Typically we
For
haven't.
transportation, right?
The transportation and the hotels and travel and registration, we've all traditionally paid that out of our Sonoma FFA Ag Boosters account, that they raise money for those students to participate in those types of activities.
There was something I wanted to add,
Sure.
that, and it's just because you said how you guys fundraise with FFA and all that, and it was Titan Gilroy that had said of his presentation is that, and it was really good advice for a lot of us. He said that go to your local industry and find out if you're able to manufacture certain items from, like in welding.
certain like, what did he call it? He said like, there's certain items on the productivity line of manufacturing that take a little bit of time, but they're not difficult to do, and students can do it. And when you're doing that, that kind of gets you that sustainability in your program to have an ongoing funding for your program.
Mhm.
And he says that that's one of the ways, and I really grabbed onto that idea just to help programs like to be sustainable. Like when there isn't any more soft money coming in, when there isn't any more grants coming in, how am I going to sustain my program? You know, just and that's what he had said to the teachers. Go to your local industries and find out if there's something in the production line that your students can do that will help that company.
Okay.
You know, so I thought that was pretty useful information, yeah.
Yeah, the only downfall from that is, like, I think Dan's already gone to Bracco's for the gates to
Yeah, you're
sell,
doing
which
that
is
already.
that. And when you're looking at, you know, the industry that's in the Central Valley, Sacramento area, as opposed to what's in this area, it's
Right.
much more difficult.
It is, yeah.
But it was good, and they were making small milling. They were milling pieces for
Mhm.
other parts.
Mhm.
Anything else we were thinking about needing some money for, like you said, for the professional development? I just was meeting with Adita and the folks from the Ed Foundation, and there's still some money in that account too, for
Okay.
materials and for professional development too.
Okay. That's always been a tricky account to like access, because you're not really ever sure how much is quite there, or,
Yeah.
or
I
what
know.
the split
Well,
is.
It's there, and I think it was more confusing with, you know, last year with
Yeah.
other finance peoples, but I think Adita has a really good handle
That's
on it
good.
now, what's there and where, and they want us to
It's
sort of
differentiated.
use
Okay.
up what's there, not, you know. So,
Yeah.
there is some money in that account, and some of it is specifically earmarked for professional development,
Okay.
and also for some materials too.
Nice. All right, so one of the last things that we need to do, so we did have a conflict with the May 10th meeting date, and the fact that it's just probably too tight of a time frame to get back from our 4th workshop and make it to that, so we postponed that, or pushed it back to May 16th at 12:15, so that'll be on a Wednesday again.
It says 2:15, and is it 2 or 12?
It should be 2:15.
You said, it's 2 on here, but you just said 12, is it 2?
Yes,
Okay.
2:15.
So I have a conflict with that.
Okay,
It just came up, but I will be visiting middle schools.
okay.
They're in Southern California with STEAM labs. And I leave May 16th. I don't know, because they're still scheduling the flight arrangements.
Okay.
If I'm leaving in the evening or what time on that day. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's possible we could still keep it, but is there another date that we could meet?
Wasn't there one already scheduled for the 17th?
May 17th, I would be
Yeah.
gone that date.
Yeah, I have mine on the 17th, so I might have input it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't have one on either.
So, I mean, you guys can keep it, and I could have, you know, Kai or Sherry come over here. I mean, if that ends up being the case, if you still want to keep the 16th.
And you had wanted to do one with the advisory board, but you don't want to do that, because that was the 10th.
That was May 10th, right, because we
Our-
have a workshop.
our
that-
advisory. Oh,
No,
right.
I mean, I could still, if you think that, Veronica, if you think you could send another representative on the 10th,
No, you mean on the 16th, the May 16th date? Is that the date that we wanted, you originally
well,
scheduled?
yeah, I guess either of those, because originally we had planned for the 10th, but that didn't really work, so we rescheduled for the 16th.
Mhm.
But, I mean, I don't think, Sherry probably wouldn't be available, because everybody's gonna be busy on the 10th.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
10th, you're not.
Yeah.
The 10th, we're in Mendocino,
two.
so there's no way we can get over
Yeah.
here for the advisory starts at.
Yeah, so let's keep the 16th temporarily
Okay.
and see if yeah, whether your flight schedule, if there's another representative.
I'll see if, yeah, because it'd be,
Is the point of the meeting just to give updates?
Can't, if you're gonna be at Ukiah and you're gonna be at Ukiah and I'm gonna be at Ukiah, can we do it at Ukiah?
after the workshop.
I mean, I'll have students with me, but if we could keep it to a short
Yeah, that works
update.
fine for me.
For
if
me,
that's-
we could do that, but did we need to have any other representatives? Or we were gonna try to get an advisory?
Well,
meeting?
yeah, I mean, you couldn't get the whole advisory board there in Ukiah on the 10th.
No.
But you could maybe, I mean,
Well, because we're still gonna have to schedule one more
Right.
after that.
Do
So
you-
perhaps if we
Well, we could keep.
try to put it in the May advisory.
well, you know, we were talking about that. It was, you know, on the 24th, we were talking about doing Pat wants to do like an end of year kind of, you know how we did last year, we had like an
Mhm.
end of year celebration dinner, and we thought we'd have the advisory board and the seniors, but maybe we could have like a little half-hour, 45-minute long meeting before that,
Sure.
and have that be your last one of these. Would that work?
The 24th, does that?
The 24th works for me.
Mhm.
I don't know, probably, I don't know time yet, but probably 5-ish.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Does that work for you, Lynn?
I'll have to check it on first.
Okay.
I mean, I suppose we could start it earlier too. It works better. I don't know if all the advisory board members
Yeah.
could get there earlier, but
Yeah, it would be nice to have everything wrapped up in May, or if they go into
Yeah, it
June.
would be.
mhm.
The advisory board is having a meeting on the 24th?
Yeah, we were gonna have it like a end of year sort of recap celebration, have the seniors there,
That's
just,
nice.
you know, honor them.
Let's try to shoot for that one then.
Okay.
Okay, for the last one.
So then Wendy, do you mind verifying that with Pat?
Yeah.
And then that way.
I actually talked to her today, and we were already sort of planning for that
Okay.
day, so we'll just try to combine all those things into one and find a time and a place. She
Okay.
had mentioned her, maybe in her vineyard, but then she was gonna talk to Maureen at Vendors and Growers and see. Because we were thinking about doing it offsite,
Yeah,
just to make it a little nicer, so.
okay.
Yeah, I'll coordinate with her on that one. So you guys are gonna meet on the 10th still in Ukiah, right? Or are you? And then 24th?
Instead, well, we have the 16th tentative, right? You told me to just
Yeah.
keep that, and then if not, we'll just meeting on the 10th.
I'm good either way. Is there,
Okay.
do you have a preference as to what would be
I'm
easier
good
for
with
you?
both of them, but I don't know when my flight is, that
Okay.
because they're scheduling it down there, so they're still working on
Okay.
that. As
Andy,
soon
would
as I
you
know.
rather just prefer to do Ukiah if we're there?
If it's just, like I said, I'll have
Recap
students
meeting.
with me, but if we can keep it to a short update, then yeah, I mean, we're all there.
And
Okay.
you don't really need me there.
If there's any information that you
We
want to
can
send
watch the
along.
video.
Yeah, we can do that.
So then, are we canceling the advisory board meeting on the 10th? Not having it?
Yeah, I don't foresee any reason why we need to
Okay,
have two in
all
a
right.
month for that.
Okay, all right.
All right, then, I'll correct it on 12.
And what time is your Ukiah thing? Is it all day?
It's all day.
8 month. All right, so we're gonna shoot for 5:10 for a quick update recap.
And that's in Ukiah.
That'd be whatever time the workshop ends.
Yeah.
4.
4-ish. If it ends early, it's earlier.
Okay.
And then 24th back here with the advisory board.
Yeah.
So if I end up getting an evening flight, then you want me to just go for the 16th, or are we just gonna do the 10th?
Let's just try for the 10th,
Okay,
and then,
okay.
because we'll know we'll all be together.
Okay, we'll just move it then.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I did want to go back to the middle school CTE pathways.
Okay.
So that's one of the main reasons I'm going down there, to see what other schools are doing, because they're specifically for CTE pathways, starting them in middle school, and how, just kind of getting ideas. Is there anything you guys would want me to ask or, get information from, or, so I'll be visiting about 2 or 3 middle schools that have, not only just, it may not just be just your pathway, it's actually a lot of it could be CTE pathways, and, in other programs too.
Yeah, I mean, I would be interested just in the challenge of scheduling and how they're working that out.
Mhm.
Whether it be like after school, kind of like an exploratory sign-up program. I know that like Sonoma County, or SCO offers what they call like a step-up program,
Mhm.
where there's funding to teach I think they'll pay up to 9 hours of meeting with middle school students,
Okay.
introduce them to your program.
Uh-huh.
And they're pretty flexible on whether you want to do it on the weekends or through the summer or a few days after school to meet those requirements. They typically pay by the hour.
Mhm.
So they've had that in place before.
Yeah, culinary, Jonathan did that a couple of years ago, maybe last year or the year before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know the FFA does have, the FFA is starting to offer 7th and 8th graders into FFA programs
Mhm.
and participate. And they would call it almost like an exploratory course.
Mhm.
And we've looked into that with Adele Harrison, but just the fact that the bell schedules don't line up is not something that we've
Yeah.
been able to get past or make any progress on, so.
Okay.
I would.
And they're just exploratory programs or courses. I don't know how, I guess, so the biggest challenge is how do you sequence it into the high school schedule?
Well, how do you need to be offering something that can be followed up at the local high school. Otherwise, if you show them one thing and say, that's great, maybe you get to do it in 6 years, but what's offered at the high school? So it needs to really kind of articulate, whereas we're articulating with junior colleges here, they need to be articulating with their local high schools.
Right.
And follow up with what they're offering.
Right. Is the goal for articulation, or is it the goal to get the middle school student interested in those pathways?
I think it would
Or
be,
you wanna do both?
if we were doing it here, because we're not, that's the whole thing, but if we were doing it here, I would say it would be an exploratory thing of some of the stuff that's offered at the high school.
Okay.
These are some of the things that you can do in the high school, especially with a middle schooler. It's like, what's their next step? Well, their next step is high school. That's their reality. You can get them interested in and say, hey, there's a future in this, but, if you can't reiterate that and emphasize that point within a year or two, it's going to be lost on them.
Right.
They'll remember that it was maybe a cool experience, but I think the whole career connection might be lost. And by the time they get out of high school, the job market might be totally different.
Right. And the other thing, I know, sitting in other meetings with Red Bluff, the big thing was they mentioned that they already have to have this exploratory course or whatever program they do, whether it's like a summer thing they do or if it's during the winter break, before they schedule their classes for high school, which is like in March or February when they start scheduling.
Yeah.
So that was another thing they mentioned, kind of like what you said, this whole
Mhm.
scheduling structure sort of thing, you know, making it tie in to fit all those calendars, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is that the same here? I mean, do you guys know when they start enrolling?
Oh, it's already done.
It's already done by now, so it doesn't make any sense to do a summer thing when they've
No.
already,
No, our freshmen do not get a ton of electives.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's something like that would be difficult.
Oh, all right. Okay. Just kind of like picking your brain to see what
Mhm.
I should be looking at and when I go down there and all.
Yeah, I would agree. Scheduling's the biggest one
Okay.
because our master schedule will be done in May this year.
Okay.
We're close to it.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay. That's all that I have.
That's all.
Okay.
You have to go meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.